Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be going over all of the ways that you can be consistent. It is the biggest thing that I see people struggle with at all levels of lifting. Even highly advanced people sometimes struggle to be consistent. And so I want to give you guys some steps to be able to get around that. So I want to touch on a couple things before we really get started. Firstly, does it matter? Very famously, Shaquille O'Neal, who is one of the best NBA players of all time, was actually notorious for having a very poor work ethic and still being quite possibly the best player at his position in the history of the sport. Now, that is not normal by any means because consistency is the most important variable that you can find. Consistency and effort over time, that's going to predict who's the top in any sport, in any endeavor, 99% of the time. So I should start out by saying that this is not going to be some quick fix. This is not some quick hack to be able to always stay on the wagon, never lose consistency, because the reality of it is we all are going to go through periods of time where we are more or less consistent. You don't want to sit there and beat yourself up about it, but the bottom line is that it's going to be hard, but that doesn't mean you can't take some steps to make it a little more approachable. So there's going to be two sections to this presentation of sorts. This first one that I'm about to go over is going to be for getting on the horse in the first place, getting yourself to start being consistent. As they say, the hardest step is the first one. And so I'm going to section about a third of this video just to doing that. I think we can all agree that the best way to become better at something is to just do it more. Now, getting in the gym can be a very, very difficult mental task. A lot of what I'm going to be suggesting with these first two slides is ways to get you into the gym mentally so that you have an easier time talking yourself into it. So with that said, the biggest tip I can give you guys when you're first getting back into working out is to not make it too hard too fast. That is something that's very core to sticking with an exercise regimen, is to make it the appropriate difficulty level. And if you haven't been working out, jumping from haven't been working out to training super intensely is a great way for you to be consistent for 5 days and then not go to the gym for 2 months. Please do not push the difficulty too hard right at the beginning. You may have to back it down from what you naturally are inclined to do. Now, technically, the last slide could be incorporated into this. If you make your training sessions more enjoyable for yourself, you're more likely to show up and you're more likely to complete the whole thing. This can be organized in a bunch of different ways. The most important one for most people is to have more variety. I see this especially in powerlifting spheres where people can do 8 weeks of super monotonous training, then they just will burn out and have to go do bodybuilding for another month or 2 months just to keep themselves sane from doing all the squat, bench, deadlift, and nothing else. So the good thing is that the first few times you go into the gym are going to be the hardest. Once you get the first few in, it starts to get easier and easier just because you're going to start to feel like you're missing something. Humans are very routine creatures by nature, and so if you have a certain time of day that you go normally for a week straight, and then you don't for a day, your body's going to be like, what the heck is going on? So it starts to become a little more ingrained. Now, my advice is just to let this sort of settling of the routine happen before you go making your training sessions ball busting hard or super specific or just much less enjoyable. So I would say once you've fully solidified that early routine of, you've got your gym, you've got your rough time of day, and you've got your rough schedule down, then I would start to make it a more serious training program, so to speak, where you have very clearly lined out goals and the steps you need to achieve them, and then you will push for those goals with your program rather than just kind of go into the gym to have fun, break a sweat, and sort of get back into the swing of things. As with any program, I strongly recommend that you keep the jumps and the goals very achievable, or else you will risk just burning out super early and never really making any progress with close to a month that you've sunk in. And now, guys, so this last section is just going to be for keeping yourself on the wagon and how you can best encourage yourself even further beyond the routine that you are establishing to stick with your training. I've been alluding to this one all video. It's really simple. On your training days, you just make sure that those days of the week you have a specific block of time consistently blocked out every single week. For me, I'm very partial to 2-a-day sessions, and so I have one session before I go to work in the morning, and then I'll have a second session later in the day. That's a routine that works for me. I'm consistently open. I can schedule my eating and my work and my schooling around that. So I don't have to worry about just trying to fit in an hour and a half long training session wherever I can find it in the day. I'll try to generally put a mental schedule in my mind for what I'm going to do that day. The second thing that's going to help you stay consistent with the gym for long periods of time is just to make friends that also go to the gym, preferably the same gym as you. I don't even intentionally make friends at the gym, but if you go there enough, you will find that you strike up conversations with, maybe the people that work there, other people who are doing similar exercises to you. If you're a power lifter, you'll probably meet other power lifters just by doing deadlifts on the deadlift platform, right? Open yourself up to those conversations and be willing to make friends. The gym isn't just some place to be an edgelord and put your sweats and your hoodie on and try to kill yourself under the bar. You can act like a normal human being and make friends at the same time. Lastly, and most importantly, do not give yourself an excuse to break the habit. Right? Obviously, things happen. If you get sick, you need to take a few days off the gym. That's one thing. If you go on vacation for a week, that's sort of excusable. If you normally sleep 7 hours a night and then one night you get 5 hours, is that really a reason to just quit going to the gym for a day or two? Or should it just be a situation where maybe you take a couple pounds off the bar that day? The point of this one, as arbitrary as it might be, is that you don't want to start making excuses for yourself once the routine has been established, because the moment you get out of that routine, all of your work is gone. Because chances are, once you're out of that routine completely, you're not going to get back into it for a little while, and that means that you are, one, going to be wasting months, possibly years of your life, not making progress, or at best, you are just going to stall. Do with that as you will. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. I've missed this more than you all really know. Catch you later.